Bio. This is Mr. B, and we are starting a new chapter. Like I said, chapter 9 was a really short one, so we are starting chapter 10, and the title of this chapter is Cell Growth and Division. So we've mentioned some things about how we make energy inside the cells, the organelles inside the cells, so now we're going to look at how cells grow and divide. So our first section, section 1, is just entitled Cell Growth. And unfortunately for cells, there are some problems when they go to grow. So we're going to look at what problems does growth cause for cells. And some of the limits here are the larger a cell becomes, the more demands the cell place on its DNA. In addition, the cell has more trouble moving enough nutrients and waste across the cell membrane. So we know cells, they're very tiny. We can't see them with the naked eye. They're on a microscopic level. So they're that way for a reason, because if they become too large, it'll put too much demands on the DNA, and it'll have trouble getting nutrients and waste across the cell membrane. So there's a reason why it is small, and those things right there put a limit onto why our cells are so small. And the rate at which oxygen, water, and waste are moved in and out of the cell is dependent on the surface area of the cell. So that's a very important concept we're going to look at, is the surface area, and the rate at which food, oxygen, and water are used and waste is produced depends on the cell's volume. So two very important things when we talk about food, oxygen, and water and waste material are going to be our surface area of our cell. So I'm going to highlight that, make it bigger. So surface area is very important, and volume is very important. So surface area and volume are the two most important things that we're going to look at in terms of cell growth. And it is so important that they have a ratio of surface area to volume inside of cells. So as the length of a cell increases, its volume increases faster than the surface area. The decrease in the cell's ratio, so this causes a problem, so the decrease in the cell's ratio of surface area to volume makes it more difficult for the cell to move materials in and waste products out quickly enough for the cell to survive. So the cell kind of has a perfect surface area to volume ratio at the size we're at now. So as they grow, that surface area to the volume decreases, and it makes it more difficult for the cell to move the needed materials in and the waste products out quickly enough for the cell to survive. So we're not going to get enough oxygen to keep us alive, and we're going to have too much waste material inside, and again, it would not keep us alive. So here's a chart kind of that shows how the surface area to volume changes over time, and kind of what is the most kind of proper, and then just kind of how it will increase as just very quickly here. So we want a nice surface area to volume here would be down here about 6:1, and we do not want the 2:1 that's down here. And however, we are all surviving today, so our cells are not becoming too large like this picture on the right. They are kind of normal. So the reason why they are at the proper sizes, because if the cell becomes too large, it will divide, forming two daughter cells. So when we think of a daughter cell, that's just going to be a cell that is basically two cells that are identical to the parent. So that's what a daughter cell is. So daughter cells are going to be important to know about too. And the process by which a cell divides into two new daughter cells is called cell division. So that is an important process that we're going to look at. There's a lot of steps, or a few steps to this that we're going to take a look at over the next couple days. So that is it for this video. It is short and sweet. Let me know if you have any questions.